another long-awaited Rolling Stone episode. My name is Owen Adams.
And I'm Connor McTighe.
So today, we got a story from Rolling Stone here about these troubled teen centers. Reform camps across the United States are inundated with allegations from former students, and yet they're still making billions. Their families think they're troubled teens, and these camps promise solutions. But according to dozens of both settled and active court cases, programs for difficult, unruly teenagers aren't just unsuccessful. In some cases, they're deadly.
A lot of these places promise that they will rehabilitate your child, and considering how rambunctious teenagers can be, I know myself, I certainly was one. Tough love is usually the remedy that is suggested after none of the other remedies work. However, there's something to be said for anybody being physically accosted, and this is why this story really poked out to me.
So they're calling it Hell Camp here, and this is a Netflix documentary that you can go check out for more information. So here's one example of one of these programs, all right? This is the Challenger Foundation. It was built as a wilderness survival program meant to turn out-of-control kids and master manipulators into leaders by forcing them on a 500-mile hike in the Utah desert. Doesn't that just sound like, it kind of sounds worse than, like, juvie. Like, it's worse than jail, is it not? Like,
Oh yeah, at least you have commissary.
right. The program was popular in the 80s and 90s until the unaliveness of one teen, multiple allegations of bad behavior, and a federal lawsuit settlement shut the program down in 1994. So, and again, keep this in mind, this is just one of these programs, which there are many.
The horrendously fun fact about this article is that following the lawsuit against this particular foundation, 3 others were shut down for the exact same reason. So the evidence stacked up against Challenger Foundation, and Healthcare America, Pacific Coast Academy, both of them went down immediately after.
Yep.
All run by the same person.
Yep, and the article goes on to talk about this down here. So, look, we kind of make fun of the Rolling Stone a little bit on this show, but in this episode, I got to be honest. I got to give this guy CT that wrote this article props. This is not easy subject matter to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot more things he could write about that would be more viral and get him more clicks. But good on him for reporting on this in an honest and fair way. We found one. We found one good article on Rolling Stone. Good
My
for
man's
them.
cooking with Earl here.
So, so think your child has a problem. Are they staying out late, doing drugs, meeting up with friends you don't like, talking back, or depressed? Send them to this reform program where the structure will sort them out. And then they kidnap them from their homes late at night. They keep them away from everything they love. Now, we have some data here as well. The National Youth Rights Association.
The data.
The National Youth Rights Association, a nonprofit for young victims of institutional bad behavior, discipline intervention programs based on punishment or corporal behavior modification, increase a child's likelihood to continue their actions by 8%. So were they likely to continue their actions already? Probably, but this is data here saying that they're even more likely to not be reformed and to go back to their dastardly old ways.
Considering that there's 9 billion people on this planet at this point in time, 8% is a lot. When compared to license counseling, which can reduce the recidivism by 13%,
right?
Which I feel like is a statistic that should not be chagrined at.
Exactly. And so licensed counseling, we're just talking about send your kid to a therapist, send them to go talk to somebody once a week or twice a week. Have somebody that they can trust, that they can share how they're feeling and their experiences. You don't need to go kidnap them in the middle of the night. They just need a licensed professional to talk to who's trained on these matters. And Yeah, that's going to be
Because,
much better.
Because do not get it twisted. This is absolutely the practices of all of these establishments. The way that they operate is your parents sign you off because you are a minor and you can't sign paperwork. And then the next thing you know, you have people in riot gear wearing bulletproof vests and everything, waking you up at 3:30 in the middle of the night. You're being thrown in a van and taken to an establishment. The parents are not present during these things.
You mentioned that the parents are, in fact, signing them up for these things, and we're going to talk about exactly who is playing such a strong role in this. The parents can't get all the blame on this because they're being told by culture and society and even some celebrities that this is the only thing that's going to work for this kid is to send them to basically a forced labor camp. So some of the things that these kids are putting up with here, you can read the stuff on the screen here, guys, and you can see a couple of the allegations about these centers. But Connor, tell us about who else is to blame.
Dr. Phil, he has consistently fought against lawsuits that have been held against him after the children on his shows that were considered troubled teens were shoved into these camps. Turnabout Ranch was the one that Dr. Phil that was his preferred brand. And there are plenty of children who came out of that who did not do so well. So if you had a drug problem before and you came from a broken home and they just made you do horseshoes all day or something like that, you come back and you're like, okay, well, my life sucked at home before and it sucked at this place too. I should probably keep doing the same thing that I've always been doing because it's the only thing that's going to get me anywhere.
What's the incentive, right? Because
there is no incentive.
Because these kids are acting out and they're doing these kind of behaviors in the first place because a lot of times they grew up in a troubled family situation. They've been neglected. They need attention. They're not getting love and care from the people that they're supposed to be depending on. And then they go to a place like this Turnabout Ranch, which I guess Dr. Phil is apparently just sending these kids in droves, just one by one, like an assembly line.
That's basically how he did it.
What incentive do they have to change their behavior when they're being treated like garbage, regardless of where they're at, you know?
They know how to work now. I know, it's like, what is the end game here? Okay, they know how to work now, and they know how to have a work ethic, so they achieve something out of it, and guess what? They're going to hate every second of that for the rest of their life because you shoved it in their face.
I hear having the skill of learning how to be properly hog-tied pays really well these days, actually.
Well, I mean, that's only happened to a couple of kids who have gone to Turnabout Ranch.
Yes, only the worst ones.
Never mind. If it happened to the ones who were talking about it, it probably happened to more than that. Health guru.
Oh, my goodness. So this young lady was on Dr. Phil. Bad Baby is her name. She was sent to Turnabout Ranch at age 13. At age 13. I mean, at that point, like, you're nowhere near adulthood. And
now, keep in mind, I am going to go on record and say that I'm not insinuating that any of these kids who were sent to these ranches were innocents. These were bad kids. It is what it is.
I mean, the chick has the word bad in her name.
This particular one does, yes.
So you know she's bad.
So what I'm saying is the behaviors that are terrible existed in these kids before they were before they had their toes put to the fire, essentially.
Sure, yeah.
But being physically accosted was the reprimand for that. That's the way that we're doing things. So don't call it a rehabilitation. If you're physically accosting somebody, do not refer to it as rehabilitation because you're not rehabilitating somebody. You're Pavloving somebody. You're essentially beating them into submission. Like, that's all that it is. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah, and my philosophy on things like this, at 13, you are still under the complete responsibility of your parents. Whatever she did, she learned from somewhere. She learned it from a parent or a family member or a friend, And at age
It
13,
was the media.
it is your parents' job to train you and teach you how to act and how to behave in society. And if her family members are not doing that, and then they're sending her away to be punished, I mean, are they not just punishing her for their mistakes?
Essentially.
So let's see what Miss Baby has to say. And here's the video. This is on her channel here. She's quite popular, as you can see.
I was 13 years old when I went to Turnabout Ranch. I feel like it's very important for me to speak on this because I kept my mouth shut for so long. I did touch on it a couple times in different situations, but I really want to get my whole story out there and let everything just be out, because that's the thing with these places is you have no evidence. You don't have a phone there. They don't have cameras there. Like, there's no evidence of none of this. And obviously all the staff is in on it, so they're not going to snitch on each other. All you really have is the kids that are there. So a young lady, her name is Hannah, she recently spoke out because while she was there, she was sexually assaulted, and then when she reported.
All right, so y'all can go look this up. This is the kind of thing that's going on in our great nation. Celebrities on TV cashing in on these troubled teens, and these guys are making a killing. They're making billions of dollars in this industry, and all they're really doing is making the problem worse.
They're advertising.
It is. It really is.
Can I speak freely? I'm being more transparent in this new year. As somebody who has been to a rehabilitation facility before,
You were a bad baby too, Connor?
I was a bad baby. I was a bad baby. I'll give you that.
Are we going to catch you outside?
Probably not.
Okay.
Because I like being inside. I'm
Okay.
very indoorsy. When I was at a rehabilitation facility that was designed to rehabilitate, the one thing that you are told, you are on camera. So the second that she said there are no cameras there, there is no account. That means there's no accountability for the employees who are running this establishment. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to rehabilitate somebody's mental health. That is never going to operate. And the second that she said there were no cameras, and none of the employees at the facility planned on snitching on each other, which is any working environment.
Sure.
You work with people that you love and everybody's paying their bills. I completely understand that. But it's a rehabilitation facility. You're supposed to be rehabilitating these kids. Isn't that the goal?
Yeah.
So you're not even doing your job, not even remotely.
And there's no proof of it.
And there's no proof of you doing your job or not doing your job. You got man, you might as well just start throwing these kids off the top of the barn. Edit that out. That shouldn't be in there.
Here's what I want to know. How many of these celebrities, such as Dr. Phil, have gone on the record and said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was the situation.
Never.
I will never be working with this facility.
Okay, so that did actually happen. He released a statement in writing. Then he's
Here we go.
Yeah,
It's actually there. Look at that.
It does exist. He's not now. This is the only.
Well, look at you being fair and balanced. See, y'all
Well,
thought
this is the only.
y'all thought this was going to be hating on Dr. Phil, and see, we're fair here. We're fair and balanced. We said he should apologize. He apologized. So
It's easy to hate on Dr. Phil because of how many fallacies he's had over the years.
but here's the deal.
But he's a personality on a TV show.
At some level, there is a network of people that are highly invested in keeping this going. We're just making this video to kind of document our very shallow dive into this situation. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below.
Please do.
Have you heard of this story? Have you been keeping up with the bad baby situation? What's going on between Oprah and Dr. Phil? Why is he still allowed to call himself a doctor? Let us know your thoughts, opinions, whether you agree or disagree with anything we have to say in this video in the comment section down below. Also, share this video with all the Dr. Phil fans you know.
You better.
Share it with all of the troubled teens that you know. Share it with all the parents of troubled teens. Maybe we can, I don't know, do something positive with our platform and raise some awareness.
If they play an instrument, we'll bring them to a jam. If they live in the DMV.
Yeah, now there's something that is also scientifically proven to reduce kids' rate of criminal behavior and depression and anxiety is teaching them a musical instrument. Also, if you're feeling the new format, the Rolling Stone show here, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified on all our future episodes. Dr. Phil is an entertainer, just like us. So hopefully you are entertained by our show. This has been Rolling Stoned.
And we are signing out.